Mark, a young man, wakes up to his neighbors arguing. He gets up and opens his windows, but he struggles to. Across the street, he sees a man pounding on his window. But he didn't think much of it. As he gets ready for work, he realizes something's wrong. The water won't run, the lights won't turn on, and his phone has lost all signal. Still, he tries to stay calm and keep to his routine. He realizes he is late, and he receives a call from work urging him to come.
There's been a power cut. All right, my alarm hasn't gone off. Come on, even you can't blame me for that.
He heads to the front door, but he finds it tightly sealed. He checks why it is not opening and notices it is glued.
Mark, are you still there?
Yeah.
Even the window won't open. It's been completely blocked from the outside. Looking across to the neighboring building, he sees more people in a panic, waving for help. Men in hazmat suits patrol the area, ignoring the frightened residents. Mark calls for his neighbor, but he doesn't get any response he can understand. Mark grabs a hammer, desperate to force his way out. But instead of freedom, he ends up hurting himself. At that moment, a voice comes from the intercom. A woman voice tells him that everything is under control and he should remain calm.
The situation is under control.
What situation? Who is this?
While tending to his injury, there's a sudden bang and a section of the wall breaks open. Through it steps Sergei, a fiery teenager, and his younger brother, Nico. Through the hole in the wall, Mark goes to Nico's and Sergei's house, attempting to open the door, but it obviously doesn't work.
I'm not being funny, but don't you think I've already tried that?
Shortly after, two more neighbors, Sally, a nurse, and Aiden, a government worker, step in. They all confirm the same thing. The entire floor is sealed off from the world.
It's probably just a precaution. I'm Sally, from next door.
Aiden, clearly shaken, believes something serious is happening, something the authorities aren't saying. They try every way to contact the outside world, but get no answer. Then the announcement comes through the intercom again, promising that medical teams are handling the issue.
The situation is under control.
Sally takes care of Mark's hand, stitching the wound as the others gather their thoughts. Amid the silence, Mark remembers his elderly neighbor, Enid. Urgently, he asks Sergei to knock through the wall to her place. They find her asleep, undisturbed.
Jesus. I've got nothing worth stealing.
Later, the group watches from the window as workers outside set up medical tents. They also see sick people being led to the tents. Another intercom message blames a gas leak, advising everyone to stay inside. But the group isn't convinced. Aiden, in particular, thinks they're being lied to.
Tell me you're actually buying that.
You got a better explanation?
Oh, he's right. That doesn't make sense.
Their suspicions deepen when they see workers in protective gear spraying chemicals and dragging more sick residents to the tents. Then suddenly a man tries to run and is gunned down by a sniper. Horror sets in. They all realize that no one is allowed to leave. Moments later, teams in hazmat suits begin raiding apartments. Sergei witnesses this while standing by the window. Those who resist are taken by force. Panic sets in among Mark and the others. They realize time is running out.
Take the fight to them. What happened out there was an act of war.
Desperate to escape, they huddle together and weigh their options. That's when Mark remembers, somewhere in his apartment, he has chemicals that might be strong enough to break through the sealant on the door. With no time to waste, the group begins to search. Once the chemicals are found, Mark mixes them into a potent solution and carefully pours it at the base of the front door. To everyone's relief, the sealant begins to soften. Working together, they manage to pry it open. They quickly begin to plan their escape, but armed guards are likely watching the building, ready to shoot. Just as the group starts working through a plan, Enid suddenly panics. Nico is nowhere to be found. Concerned, they abandon the escape discussion and focus on finding the boy.
He'll show up.
Meanwhile, Nico, scared and alone, crawls through an air vent and ends up on a different floor. Hidden in the shadows, he watches a chilling scene unfold. A woman is being coaxed by hazmat-suited workers into cooperating. One of them injects her with something. Moments later, she collapses, coughing violently.
Don't bother.
Back upstairs, Sergei finally locates Nico and tries to pull him up using a makeshift rope. But just as Nico reaches for it, the workers spot him and drag him away.
Take it to Barak!
Mark rushes to alert Sergei, who grabs a baseball bat and storms downstairs with him. What follows is chaos. In the heat of the moment, Sergei attacks one of the hazmat workers, killing him. He then forces the remaining staff member, a woman, back to their apartment. Sally, Enid, and Aiden go through the woman's belongings and find a smoke gas.
That's tear gas.
Oh, no.
Meanwhile, Mark tries to calmly question the woman in the hazmat suit. Sergei, however, loses patience. He hauls her in front of the others with a note pinned to her chest. "I've got one." After that, the woman's radio comes to life. The man on the other side warns that the situation is out of control. Mark presses for details, but the man realizes that it was not his colleague he is talking to.
We're here to help. Pass me on to my colleague so I know she's safe.
After this, Mark attempts to calm Sergei, tries to talk to Hazel gently, hoping to get answers. Her name is Hazel. When he attempts to remove her hazmat suit, Hazel reacts with terror, confirming his worst fear. Hazel is not protecting herself from whatever is out there. She is protecting herself from them.
She's wearing it to protect her from us.
Eventually, under pressure, Hazel opens up. She reveals the area has been hit by a deadly virus. The government, she says, has blocked all communication to stop mass panic. They're hiding the truth, not just about the virus, but about everything.
To isolate infected areas, run tests, and not tell anyone anything except
What?
please...
She mentions that there is a chance that none of them are infected, but that means there is an equal chance that they could be infected too. When asked about the virus, she reveals that it causes violent coughing, difficulty breathing, and even blindness. But finally, the vital organs will shut off. Scientists are trying to find a cure or a vaccine, but there's been no success so far.
We weren't prepared. It was too quick, too widespread.
Well, how widespread?
Sergei, already on edge, snaps. In a fit of rage, he tears off Hazel's protective suit. Hazel tries to reach for an injection, but Sergei seizes it. The room falls into stunned silence as Mark removes a suit off of her face. Hazel, now vulnerable, confesses the vaccine is still experimental and may not work at all. She pleads with the group to stay inside until the authorities take control of the situation.
Your best chance of survival is to stay inside.
Later that night, they all gather to talk about their next step. Hazel tries to escape. Sergei, overwhelmed by fear and suspicion, tackles her and lashes out violently. Mark jumps in to stop the attack, but Sergei pushes back with fury. Amid the chaos, Sergei accidentally strikes Nico. Nico breaks into tears and the group is shaken. Moments later, the group notices people coming to their building. A crowd is gathering, angry and demanding answers. They are coming to them because they know they have one of the people with the hazmat suit. Hazel, panicking, begged the others to keep them out, terrified they might carry the virus.
If you do, we'll all be infected.
Amidst this, the intercom rings. A man's voice comes through, telling Mark that they need to know where the vaccines are. They've killed everyone, and Hazel is the only one that is left of her team.
She's the only one left.
The group scrambles to barricade the door. As the people start pounding on it, the group scrambles to hold the door. In the scuffle, she's badly cut by flying glass.
Sally? Sally?
Sergei throws a smoke grenade to disperse the crowd and rushes Sally back to the apartment. But the injury is too severe. Hazel does her best to save her, but it's too late. Sally dies from blood loss.
What are you talking about?
Aiden, heartbroken, quietly disappears into another room. Later, they wrap Sally's body in cloth, but Aiden is gone. Unbeknownst to the others, he's taken Hazel's suit and slipped outside, hoping to escape. The moment he's seen, people mistake him for a medic and swarm him, begging for a cure. Panic erupts. A sniper fires a warning shot, scattering the crowd. Aiden stands alone. Seconds later, he's shot dead. Back inside, Sergei sees more people charging toward them. He urges the group to leave, fast, but Mark refuses, saying he won't abandon Hazel. He attempts to untie her, taking time. Sergei, furious, strikes Mark with a bat, knocking him out cold. No! When Mark regains consciousness, he rushes to find Nico and the others. At the window, a terrifying sight meets him. 2 hazmat-suited workers are preparing to release gas near the building. Mark reunites with the group and immediately confronts Sergei, furious over the earlier attack. Mark nearly chokes Sergei to death before Enid intervenes, managing to calm him down. But their moment of calm is short-lived. The gas begins to fill the building. The group rushes upward, seeking safety on the rooftop. On the way, Mark stumbles across Hazel's lifeless body. As they run, Sergei is caught by the crowd outside. He attempts to break free, but he is outnumbered. The group is forced to leave him there. On the rooftop, the remaining 3 finally breathe clean air. Mark and Enid huddled together, smoking. The next morning, Mark wakes up and wakes Nico. Nico tries to wake Enid, but she has died in her sleep. Mark, knowing what happened, tells Nico to let her sleep a little.
She'll catch us up later.
With only Nico by his side now, Mark looks out at the ruined city. He decides to leave the building with Nico. Determined to protect him, Mark tells Nico to shut his eyes and imagine they're playing a game.
You can keep your eyes shut for. All right, go on, come on.
He then slings Nico onto his back and he steps into the ruins of the city, weaving through stairs lined with the dead. Eventually, they manage to escape the building. But what waits outside offers no relief. The world is empty. Even the quarantine camps are silent. Overhead, a loudspeaker blares a cold warning. Anyone found outside without authorization will be detained.
Anyone found outside without authorization will be treated as an infection risk.
Knowing time is running out, Mark puts on a hazmat suit and sets out, still with Nico. He hopes the disguise will keep them safe, but hope is short-lived. A man from a nearby building spots them. Mistaking Mark for a government worker, the man rushes to them and pulls Nico away. He talks of his lost family, his anger boiling over. Then he raises a shard of glass, aiming it at Mark.
What? You think I'd hurt a little boy? You sick bastard.
Mark tries to explain he's not with the medics. He's not their enemy. But the man doesn't believe him because of the suit. In the struggle that follows, Nico manages to escape, but Mark is stabbed. Bleeding and weak, he stumbles away with Nico's help. They finally reach an abandoned park. Mark, now pale and fading fast, lowers himself onto a swing. He hands Nico his phone and number and tells him to call the number if he ever gets a signal. He then tells him to go. Nico hesitates to leave Mark behind, but Mark encourages him to leave. Nico keeps walking. From afar, he sees people with hazmat suits. As he is standing there, others from behind capture him. Moments later, Nico wakes up in a sterile, brightly lit room surrounded by other children. Hazmat workers move around them. One of them leans in, offering a soothing voice, promising that everything will be okay. Nico then takes out a photo of Mark with his family. He then clutches the phone Mark gave him. The screen lights up and he stares at it.